everyone out there in the world of YouTube, or wherever it is you may be checking out just a clip. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Jacqueline Anderson, and today I'm interviewing Mrs. Mima Norby. She is a woman about her business and doing it all. She's a certified public accountant who is also a wife, a mother of 3 girls, and in her former life, she was an accountant in corporate America. But she's going to share all about her exam experience and how she's an entrepreneur, building her accounting firm, and doing it all as a CPA. So we'll get started with the question I always ask. What is your name as it's printed on your birth certificate?
Wow, my name on my birth certificate is actually Mima Rita Larmy.
Gotcha. Okay, where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Liberia, West Africa. It's a little country off the coast of West Africa. That's where I was born. And my parents migrated over here when I was like a toddler. So
Okay.
I've lived in the Northeast. I grew up in New Jersey and then spent my teenage years in Georgia. So I've been in Georgia since my teenage years.
Okay, got you. And where do you mind saying what area of Georgia you currently live, since you've been here since your teenage years?
Yeah, my parents left New Jersey and decided that the South was a good place to raise kids. So I think it was like middle school or high school.
Okay.
But I live in Gwinnett. I'm in Swanee.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So how old are you currently?
I am currently 42 years old.
Also looking like a young lady with 3 girls and a husband. Well, you're doing it. You need to tell us what the secret sauce is.
I need to find out myself what the secret is. I'm just taking it one day at a time. That's it.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you remember what year it was or how old you were when you were licensed as a CPA?
Oh yeah, I remember that vividly. I was actually licensed as a CPA in 2019, last year.
Okay.
I don't think I've had my license for a year. I got my license, I believe, November of 2019.
Well, congratulations, newly minted. Good, great job. I'm so happy for you and proud of you. So do you know your state issue number?
My state issued number, I'm actually, my state is actually the district, it's not a state, it's a district of Columbia, I'm sorry. And my CPA license number is 921329.
Gotcha. Okay, do you have reciprocity in different states or just DC and Georgia? Or how does that work?
Right now I'm in DC. I do plan on getting reciprocity in Georgia and a couple of other states because it's fairly new. I just was trying to get my license and that was it. Let me tell you about the experience of getting my license because I haven't worked for anyone in 10 years. I left corporate America almost 10 years ago in January of 2021, it'll be 10 years. But the experience requirement changed a lot since the last time I worked. Okay. So I had to do some serious investigation to see which state worked for me because of course of being an entrepreneur and having my own CPA firm, I wasn't gonna stop and go back into corporate America to re-earn. Georgia wanted recent license. So they want you to work for someone for a year prior to applying for your license. Okay. So that's why I applied in DC because, I mean, of course, when I first started my CPA journey, the requirements were different. You had to work 5 years in corporate America. So I had already, under CPA, of course, so I had already earned my 5 years and had my manager at the time sign off on it. Okay. So I was like, okay, where can I get my license? And so it ended up being DC.
So, okay, that's interesting. Good to know you have some options.
Yeah, so anyone out there, if you're in the same boat, you know, as far as experience, do your research and don't give up, you know.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you shared that. Great, because I was just automatically thinking you were initially licensed here in Georgia. Gotcha. Okay, so what college or university did you attend?
Oh, for my undergrad, I went to Georgia Southern University, and for my master's in business, I went to Mercer University, which is in, well, I went to the Atlanta campus.
Gotcha. What were your majors?
Undergrad, I majored in accounting, and graduate, I majored in accounting and finance.
Gotcha. Okay. During the introduction, I touched on you did work in corporate America and you're now entrepreneur. So, what
Yes.
has been your background and experience thus far?
Oh, my background is long, and you know what? When I was in undergrad, I was a part of the Accounting and Student Association and just all the business groups. And they would always have people come and speak with us. I always knew I wanted to be an accountant because my dad actually, he has a degree in accounting, and that's why he came to the US. That's why we migrated from Liberia to the US, because he wanted to finish his education.
Gotcha.
So like growing up, I mean, like speaking about money and finance was just a natural part of our conversation. My parents always tell me that like at 3 years old, I used to like go in their wallet and like count all their money. And I'd be like, oh, daddy, you have like $20.19 or something as a toddler. So at Georgia Southern, I majored in accounting. And so when I graduated, well, let me back up. While in college, I was trying to find out what type of accounting I wanted to do. And you know, you have different people that come and visit your school: public accounting, government, and corporate accounting. Well, I always known that I didn't want to do I didn't want to do public accounting because of the hours.
Okay.
I always, you know, thought that this tax season and the long hours, you know, they told us that on average you'd work like 50 or 60 hours a week. So I was like, okay, no public accounting for me. Government, you know, didn't really seem like a fit. So I was like, okay, corporate. So that's how I ended up in corporate accounting. First job out of college, I was hired as an accountant for Verizon Wireless. And that's kind of been, that was, I guess, my career path. I always worked for Fortune 100 companies.
Okay.
And I did Verizon. I was an accountant there. Then I also worked for McKesson in Alpharetta. I was a senior accountant. And then my last position prior to me becoming an entrepreneur, I worked at Fiserv, and I was the corporate accounting manager over there. And at the time, I thought it was my dream job. I mean, I learned a lot there because luckily I had a really good boss that was open to letting me explore and take on any responsibilities that I wanted to. And I was eager to learn at the time. So I probably could have stayed in that job for like another 5 years or so, but my life kind of changed. And actually, when I left the job, I had started my CPA journey prior to leaving. And I took one part of the CPA exam, was extra excited because I passed the first try. I think it was BEC. And then at the time, my husband and I guess we'd been married got married in like our mid-20s. So we had been married for a few years. And we had our daughter, who was like 3 years old or so. And we were trying to figure out like when to have, you know, our next child. And I was like, okay, I'm not even thinking about having a baby until I pass the CPA exam. But anyhow, I ended up getting pregnant with my second daughter. And that kind of like gave me a different path in my career. So I tried going back to work after having her, but it was like, I feel like God placed something in my heart to try something that I thought I would never do. I never thought I would do public accountant. I never thought I would really be an entrepreneur. I always saw myself in corporate America, and I always saw myself like trying to work up towards like a C-level executive, like a CFO.
Of course.
But yeah, but I ended up leaving what I thought was my dream job. And when I left, I actually had planned on writing when I left. I thought I was gonna, it was one of the things I've always wanted to do is write like a children's book about finance, just to introduce children to finance. Because you always hear people say, oh, I didn't learn about money when I was young.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, but I've been writing this book. I haven't finished it. It's a work in
Okay.
progress.
Author to the list of all the things you can do too.
Yeah. One day, yeah. So when I left, I thought I was gonna write, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do. It was just taking longer. I guess I didn't realize the writing process, and I had to learn about it. But anyhow, so the next best thing to do was to start an accounting firm. Yeah, so that's how I started my firm, ML Accounting and Tax Service. And it was more so like I had a lot of friends and family who, after they learned that I left my corporate job, they all was like, okay, I need you to do my taxes. Everyone was starting a small business and they needed help. So my business actually really started organically. People kept asking me for help, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And that's what happened. Yeah, and I've been doing it for
Right.
9 years. It gives me the flexibility. I wanted flexibility with my children. Right now, I have 3 girls. I had a 3rd child since starting my firm. And of course, I'm married. And just my husband's job is he travels a lot, and being hands-on with my kids, it just allowed me to live a more flexible, balanced lifestyle. So now I'm in public accounting. I work really hard during tax season, really long hours. Ouch, how my career in accounting has turned out.
Well, that's good that you're in control of your time. And even though you said you didn't want to be in public accounting, interesting how now you are doing all things accounting, which is public accounting, but on your own terms.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it worked out perfectly. Yeah.
So when you were working in industry or corporate America, did you have a certain area that you specialized, that you found yourself in working on?
Yeah, I started out in revenue recognition software, and my goal was to get to general ledger accounting, corporate accounting.
Okay.
So that's where I specialize, closing the books, month-end close, getting the financial statements out, the 10Q, 10K. So that was my specialty. Usually in corporate accounting for Fortune 100 companies, you need to have SEC experience. So I had that under my belt.
Oh, well, that's great. Well, you have a wealth of knowledge and experience that you can bring to your accounting firm. So even though right now you're still building it, your accounting firm and have, I'm sure, different clients who need different things, all things accounting, is there a certain area you hope to specialize in at some point?
I've thought about it, and I just want to help small businesses grow and be successful and leverage their finances. And so I really haven't identified a niche. I hope to grow as far as bring on other accountants to help so that I'm able to service more people, because I'm kind of getting to the point where I can't take on that many additional clients, but I don't really have a specialty. I have a lot of service-oriented business clients. So real estate agents, a lot of technology consulting firms. I have a lot of physicians who have their own practice. So if I had to say I had a specialty, it would definitely be service industry. Yeah.
Good to know how you've transitioned. That is excellent.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your exam experience.
Okay.
And what prep course or review course did you use? And why? What factored into that decision? Was it price, the reputation, or was it convenient because of some connection with work or school?
Yeah. So I just want to encourage those watching who may be a little bit older. My CPA journey was a 10-year journey. I started when I was literally, I think 31 or 32. And that's when I took my first exam. And I was in a process of testing when I ended up deciding to have my second daughter. And so I stopped as most, some people do, or
Things
most
happen,
people do.
right?
It happened. So I took, I guess, I can't remember how many years, probably like a 5 or 6 year break
Okay.
with the exam. And it wasn't until my third daughter was kind of like an older, I think she was getting ready to start like a pre-K program. And she just said something to me that made, you know how you have these goals that you set like before you leave college? The CPA exam was always one of them. And that was the last thing that I had to check off. And my youngest daughter, who was like probably 2 or 3 at the time, she just said something that like flipped the switch of the light bulb to remind me, okay, I had this goal. Just because I'm a mom and a wife and an entrepreneur doesn't mean that I can't accomplish my goal. So fast forward from when I started the exam till when I restarted this second time, I think like a few months before my 39th birthday. So
Okay.
yeah, but when I started originally, I was using this course, Wiley CPA Excel. It was referred to me by my director at the time. She had used it. She was a mom of 4 who was working full time and used it to pass the exam. So when I did my research, I always favored that because I met it seemed like a program that was really good for busy working people because you don't have to be in a classroom. You can do it online. Everything, I mean, back then, everything was online. So it was very convenient. But my company that I left actually paid for it. And one of the provisions of CPA Excel, I'm not quite sure if they still offer it, but they had the use until you pass the exam provision. So you actually had access to it until you passed. So I called them up and they honored it. So I guess, what was it, like probably like 6 years after my company purchased it for me, I was able to still access it. And that's what I used. I really love Wiley CPA Excel because they have bite-sized lessons. And first of all, even before you start, they allow you to plan out your lesson. So you give them a date that you want to take the exam, and they build a lesson plan based on that date.
Oh, okay.
So, when you're trying to accomplish something, tackling it, having a plan to tackle it really helps. So that's why I like Wiley. And they had a lot of mobility. They have an app. I studied on my cell phone, on my iPad. I fell asleep studying. I would like listen to lectures as I was falling to sleep.
I think we all did.
Yeah, osmosis, trying to absorb the information. Yeah. But yeah, I use Wiley. I really like them. I really recommend Wiley for like busy, on-the-go professionals.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you remember if you took several sections or retook any sections or what order?
Yeah. So the exams that I passed the first time, I'll start with that. I
Okay.
passed DEC my first time around. But of course, because of the gap and when I took the exam, my first try and the second try, of course, my scores expired. So I had to take DEC again. I passed that again. And then I took auditing and I passed auditing. And then I got to regulation.
Okay.
And that didn't go as planned. I think I was a little bit burnt out. I mean, the CPA exam, of course, anyone watching this video, not to deter you, but just is a fact. It's one of the hardest exams ever. but I mean, it tested on every single thing, but regulation, I had to take regulation 3 times before I passed. And the sad part about it is that I took it and I took regulation. I did not pass. I think I got like a 70, of course. And then I took it a second time and I got a 72. Then I took it the third time and passed. So it was like, when you're that close, it's just like, it's so hard, you know?
Tasty.
Yeah. But then that's not even the hardest one. The hardest one was, of course, the beast, FAR. I
Right.
had to take FAR. I passed FAR on my 4th try. Yeah. And because I took so long to pass FAR, my one of my other scores expired.
Oh
I think it
no.
was like BEC. So I had to retake BEC and FAR in like a 3-week period. Yeah. Because if I did not, then my auditing score was going to expire as well.
Gotcha.
So regulation, and I think with regulation and FAR, definitely FAR is just the massive amount of material that, and for all the exams, I kept running out of time. That was my challenge, like getting my simulations done and under that time period, but I kept running out of time. FAR, I think I left, my first time taking it, I left like 3 simulations completely done. Yeah.
So what did you do over time? What did you change in your study habits to better manage your time?
So with the retake, the thing about it is that you've already studied, you've already gone through your program. So my retakes, I basically wasn't really studying the content, I was just testing. So I would take practice exams under the exam conditions. So Wiley CPA Excel, they allow you to take practice exams from the test bank, and that test bank is huge. So I would take it and I would time myself and give myself a time period, especially for the multiple choice, because had I known that, I probably would not have taken FAR so many times. But with multiple choice, to tell you the truth, when I passed FAR, I flew through the multiple choice. It was like, I did not spend a lot of time with it. I really just, if it wasn't at the top of my head, I just kept going. And the only time I finished the exam is when I passed. So with FAR, the 3 times prior that I took it, I was never able to finish the exam. And the 4th time I took it is when I finally was able to complete all the simulations, because of course they throw cash flow statements and everything that takes the most time, you know. And so with FAR, once I acknowledged that the simulations needed, with me, I needed to spend a lot more time on the simulations than allotted. I literally dedicated like 1 hour of the exam to multiple choice, and the rest of the time went to simulations.
Okay, so you prioritize and manage the time or the clock during the exam. And
Yeah.
then while you were studying, that's what you started to do.
Yeah.
Watch the clock and timing yourself to make sure
Exactly.
you had as much time as possible on the back end with the simulations.
Yep.
Gosh, okay. Well, that seems to have worked. Since you said you were running out of time, that seemed to have been probably why you think you may not have passed, because there was some unanswered.
Yeah.
Just ran out of time. And you know, there's some, 3 hours and then 4 hours, but it goes by in the blink of an eye. You think a 4-hour exam, you'll be exhausted. Like you said, you wish you had more time.
Yeah. Yes. It goes by so fast.
I know it. And I know you talked about your exam journey restarting and giving birth and just things happening within your family, but did anything else unexpectedly happen in life that may have been a curveball that you had to just overcome or figure out how you were going to adjust, but yet keep your eye on the prize?
Um, I would say for me, my curveball was um, starting, you know, having my daughters when I was trying to test the first time. But the second time around, I was more focused and I knew exactly what I wanted, and I knew the value of time, because to study for the exam, I had to basically spend so much time alone away from my daughters. Luckily, I used to study because I had my own business. I would study during the tax off season, and I had the flexibility to manage my clients that I had, my business clients, and not take on more clients. So I definitely had opportunities to grow my firm, but during it took me 2 years, basically, the second time around, to test and pass all 4 parts. But I didn't have any real curveballs that weren't already there. I mean, when you're a mom of 3 school-age girls, it's like a lot of things are already there. I'm already involved heavily in their activities. So luckily, by God's grace, there wasn't like any life-changing curveballs. I already knew the challenges that I had, which was scheduling my study time, and had already carved that out. And my husband, who was super supportive during this whole process, because he has he has a job, he travels a lot, and he has a lot of responsibilities at work, but he definitely stepped up and really helped out with the girls so that I was able to study as much as possible. I did a lot of like non-standard studying. Like I would wake up early and study, then get my girls ready for school. They'll be in school and I'm studying while they're in school. When they come home from school, I stop my studying, do all my mom duties, run them around to gymnastics and cheerleading, and, do dinner. And then once I put them to bed, I would hop back on and I would study for another like 3 or 4 hours. So I'd study until like 1 or 2 a.m. just so I can still have time, with my girls and spend time with my husband and still get my study hours in. But I got the hours in, and I will say that definitely makes a difference with the CPA exam, and especially for those who may have been out of school for a long time like I was. I mean, I needed to put in the hours, and I had to carve out those hours, and you have to squeeze it in. And that's, again, what I liked about Wiley, because I'd be at my daughter's cheerleading or sports that, you have to sit there and wait for like 2 hours. And I can squeeze in like 30 minutes of studying within those 2 hours, and I'm still present, watching her, enjoying, watching my daughter play her sports. So, yeah, I got in those hours. Yeah.
That's good. You were able to juggle it all. During the midnight oil and still be present for your family, be in the moment for them. That is great. You mentioned about Wiley being covered by the employer early in the conversation. However, while it was covered, did you have to pay out of pocket and then be reimbursed? Or did
No,
they pay it direct?
They paid it directly. And yeah, I mean, it was a while ago, but I do remember them paying it directly.
Oh, that's great.
Now, I did ask for it. It wasn't like, for those watching who are working, you have closed mouths, don't get fed. So I asked them to pay for it. Yeah, and they did.
Okay, well, yeah, that's one less expense, because the next question is like the testing fees. Although you had moved on, but if you remember or recall, do you think they would have reimbursed you for the testing fees or for the ones you would have passed? Do you think that was an option?
I did ask, and they did not. They just paid for the actual review course, but not my testing fees.
Gotcha. Do you remember what was the conversation or what led up to you deciding to pursue the CPA designation at that point? Well, early on. I know you restarted, but I know you said, I think your boss or whoever you work with.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated from undergrad. When I graduated from undergrad in 2000 is when all of the accounting scandal, happened and everything. And so the requirements and SOX, was established, And for Fortune 500 company, if you were in financial leadership, you had to have the CPA. To my knowledge, prior to that, it was not a requirement.
Okay.
But with Sarbanes-Oxley, I mean, I was like the Sarbanes-Oxley, era was when I was starting my career. So when I first finished my undergrad, I knew I wanted to do a master's, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the CPA. I thought about doing the Certified Management Accountant designation. But when I spoke to like colleagues or my bosses, they always encouraged me, if I was going to do a certification exam, to go for the CPA versus the CMA, because in corporate America is, more of a recognized designation. So that's what caused me to pursue the CPA. And originally, when I first started testing, when I first signed up, my goal was like, okay, one day I want to be a CFO and I just don't want any barriers. So why not? That's how I look at things. Like, why not do it? I mean, if you have an option of doing something and you have the means and you have the ability, like, why not? It's not going to hurt me. It's only adding more knowledge. So I really just knew that whatever I did in my career, I didn't want to have any barriers over my head. So, I mean, accounting, when you're in large corporate environments, it can be very competitive.
Okay.
And so, I've always been one of those people who, if I'm at a position, I'm trying to get to the next position. When I was in corporate America, at least, that's how I was. So I just didn't want to have anything that was a barrier for me to get to the next level. So that's why I decided to get my CPA designation.
Because the sky's the limit.
It is. It really
All
is.
options are open.
Yep.
Well, if you can think back, or if you have old coworkers or peers who are still in corporate America, if you think about if you had stayed where you were on that career track, do you think there would have been an immediate advancement or promotion after being certified and receiving your license?
Oh, I definitely, I see old coworkers now who sometimes, maybe because I was testing, on LinkedIn, who got their CPA license, and it's definitely advancement. Even people I talk to, is definitely worth the investment in time and money to get your CPA. For me, with what I do now, having my own accounting firm, definitely, this is my first year having my license. So, I'm advertising it on my website and everything.
Gotcha.
And I'm definitely attracting this type of clients that I enjoy working with, and the type of clients that respect my license. So I would say, for those who are entrepreneurs and out there on your own, you definitely attract a higher, for lack of a better term, a higher caliber of clients.
Okay.
Yeah, more successful clients, and clients who own successful businesses, because they appreciate what you can bring to the table to help them. So just in this first year, I don't know the exact numbers because I've been so busy that I haven't really done a comparison between 2020 and 2019, but I definitely have brought on a few clients, and it's definitely put me to the point of I'm almost at capacity as far as how many clients I can take on, and it's to the point where I have to decide and really evaluate my clients and see if if they're a client that I'd like to keep and grow with, or if I'd be better allocating my time towards other clients. So for me, it was definitely beneficial.
Oh, so now you have to analyze what clientele you want to service more.
Yeah. Yep.
It's giving. Well, I want to, I guess, delve into what you just said. Since receiving your license, being a CPA now is brought in a different clientele or high net worth or just different businesses maybe. Do you think before did you turn it down, or people just may not have mentioned it since you said your business has grown organically through word of mouth?
Before I didn't turn it down. I think the clients now are searching. So when they're searching for, someone, it's it's been mostly people who are around my office. So I think as far as like the Google algorithms, so people are coming to me through searches online now.
Really?
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, that's great. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. I mean, the CPA is a great marketing tool as well. So that's how I look at it. Like as far as the skill set, I mean, I had a master's degree in business. I studied accounting and finance, and even though I didn't have my license, I believe in continuous education. So I always stay informed, and I'm always taking classes to increase my knowledge. So I do feel like I have good clients, but I've just seen an increase. I mean, my phone calls into my firm, period. Like I've been managing my firm by myself for 9 years. During tax season, I do have help. I have part-time help,
Okay.
but it's just like doing like administrative stuff. But with COVID and everything, that could be, a factor as well. With COVID, I thought it would slow down business, but all of this increase happened during COVID.
What a
So
blessing.
I'm just imagining if COVID did not take place, I didn't meet any of these people face to face. It was
Oh,
all, yeah, online. Um, so I'm just imagining like if COVID did not happen and if I actually was able to be in my office more and have, my assistant helping me, I think the growth would have been even more.
well, that's good. It sounds like it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, by God's grace. Yeah.
That is
Yep.
great. So I know you mentioned your dad was an accountant.
Mhm.
And did you have any other family members who were CPAs?
No, I do not. Like, as far as um, my side of the family, I actually have to think. I don't think so. No. I mean, now I do have other family members that are CPA through marriage. I have like a cousin-in-law who's a CPA as well. I think I have two, yeah, that are CPAs. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. But growing up, did people even talk about being an accountant? Aside from your daddy, maybe, but exposing you to that career as an option.
No, I can't say that I can think of anyone. In high school, there was a group that I was a part of. It was called Future Business Leaders of America.
Okay.
So I got a lot of exposure, to the options of a career in accounting from the faculty member that led that group. But that's about it. I wasn't around a lot of accountants or business people or anything like that growing up. Just my dad, yeah. And my dad actually didn't work in accounting. He got his degree, but he actually never got an opportunity to use it as an employee. He actually had a little side business himself after he got his degree. Yeah.
Gotcha. So do you mentor, or did you have a mentor at some point? Even if it was
Um,
high school?
yeah, I think I've had several mentors throughout my career that I'm able to lean on. I wouldn't say I had like one consistent mentor. Anytime I'm at any environment, a job, I try to seek out someone that I can, reference and talk to. So I've had several mentors. Right now, I can't think of one. I probably have more so peer-to-peer relationships right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well that's good. You still stay connected.
I try to. It's hard. I could do better, but I try to.
Well,
Yeah.
as you know, Black people underrepresented when it comes to the CPA designation. Why do
Yes.
you think that is?
I actually think, I mean, at the end of the day, to be an accountant, I think it takes a certain personality, you really have to enjoy it, and probably like most professions. But if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to want to excel. And I mean, a lot of people can be an accountant, but to become a CPA, I think you really have to enjoy being a degreed accountant to take that, next step commitment to become a CPA. But as far as our numbers being underrepresented, I don't know exactly what it is. I can't even think about it. I do want it to improve because I feel as though my accounting career has allowed me to do a lot.
Yeah.
It's taught me a lot about money. I started investing in stock the same job when I graduated from college and started working at Verizon. The first thing I wanted to do was get into the employee stock purchase program. And I opened a brokerage account and started investing in the stock market. So, I have investment, like my husband and I have real estate investment property. So I think accounting has exposed me and it has allowed me to build my personal wealth, my generational wealth. So it's definitely a great profession. I think it pays great, if you like it. Accounting is one of those careers you get what you put into it, If you like it and you enjoy what you're doing and you seek to learn more and grow, because it changes so much. I mean, the technology, the laws, the changes to GAAP, it's just a lot. You have to stay updated. So I would love to see more representation. If anyone out there is watching and needs a mentor, I am available.
That's nice. Did you hear that, everybody?
Well,
got a few voice here, making herself available. Wealth of knowledge.
yeah, I definitely extend myself to those who are interested. I even encourage people who are like in high school or college to consider accounting. Yeah.
Well, also, what do you think? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it doesn't have the glitz and glamour that other professions have.
Right.
And sometimes if I see someone who's just like, especially with my clients, I've encouraged some of my clients' kids to think about accounting, especially if they have some of the characteristics naturally. It's a good profession to consider. I mean, we have challenges as minorities in corporate America, but I don't think they're any greater than the challenges you have as a minority in any other profession.
Gotcha. And you just named several benefits or ways your life has vastly improved in building generational wealth. That's phenomenal. But just the things you said you were exposed to. So I wonder to myself then, what else would you want to do, or why wouldn't you want to do it? Maybe that's a better way to put it. All the things it would allow you to do that much more in your career and in life. So it's like, maybe we got to make it glamorous. I don't know. But I always ask the question. And then too, I know some people, I think 9% work in the accounting field, but they may not ever be a CPA, or they start the journey and don't complete it. So that's another area or issue, is how do we increase the pass rates and stick with it, encourage people to stay the course.
Yeah. I mean, when I was on my journey, I tried to get other people to jump on my journey with me. People that I knew had started their journey as well. And, some people just weren't ready. It wasn't the time. They couldn't commit the time to study. But maybe something like that. Maybe, having a group where Black accountants can study together or just explore the possibilities together and be encouraged together. Yeah.
Maybe a support system, because that seems to be a running theme. Of course, you need the discipline, but it seems that we lack a support system or a financial safety net. And because we don't have that, we can't make that sacrifice financially, or we're afraid to.
Yeah.
whatever reason. I don't know if it's because we don't have the confidence or trust ourselves or all the what ifs that can come with it. And because we typically don't have any other family members we can fall back on, it's like, okay, I don't know if I want to continue to pay these testing fees.
Yeah. That's definitely true. I mean, but we need to look at it as an investment. You know, we spend money on other things, and investing in your education, that's something that will never be taken away from you. So, you know,
I agree.
but I definitely agree. I like what you said. Maybe we need to make it more glamorous. So, but you know, I think the personality of an accountant, I mean, I don't think I'm not, I'm pretty much straightforward. So that's probably why we have a hard time making it look glamorous, you know? Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, early on, you mentioned that you're licensed in DC. What are some of the, I guess, maintaining your license? What's the difference in the continuing education
Same
requirements?
thing.
Is 80
40
hours?
hours.
Is it
Yeah.
80? Okay.
Yeah. Same thing. The continuous education is the same. It was just, there are several jurisdictions that um, don't require your experience to be immediately before the exam. I wish Georgia would change that. I mean, I think that will hinder some people
Yes.
if they don't do enough research, because they just implemented that rule, I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago. But people, I know a lot of people who, you know, started the exam, did the same thing I did, and then went back to it. But if you have experience, experience is experience. It shouldn't be, excuse me, an expiration date on your experience. Yeah.
Got you. You're right. I agree with that. So, is there any advice you could give to a student or a candidate getting ready to start this journey or in the midst of it and find themselves trying to figure out how do I pass or should I retake or stick with it? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
For students who are like already in the middle of the CPA journey, I would just tell them to, if you started it, it's something you want to do. And in life, rarely do we regret doing something. We
Okay.
usually regret not doing something.
That's true. I can agree
So,
with that. That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. So, I mean, you're not going to look back and say, oh, I regret spending time studying for the CPA exam. But if
True.
you don't, you will. So just put in the hours. The CPA exam takes, you have to put in the time in order to pass it. You can't skim through your study material and pass it. I mean, unless, you know, you're such a high performer or retain all the information that you learned in undergrad and grad school. But the average person needs to review a lot of the things. And for some people, some of the information on the exam, maybe the first time that you're studying it, depending on what your courses were like when you were in undergrad and grad school. But just, I would tell someone who's already, you know, taken the exam and maybe haven't passed, just know that if you want to pass, if you're determined, you will pass. You just need to put in the time and believe in yourself, and you will get there. And once you get there, I mean, it's well worth it. The feeling is gratifying. When I finished my exam, I was so excited. I threw a huge party. My rented a party bus, and it was fun. It was like I put in all this work. I wasn't social when I was studying. I wasn't able to attend a lot of events that my friends and family members were having. So I was so looking forward to that, just being done and being able to just like let loose and have a good time. So if you're study now, put in the work now, and you'll celebrate later on, and you'll reap the benefit of the CPA license as soon as you pass.
Right. Definitely hearing it firsthand right here. All the benefits you can reap on your own terms if you so choose to. That's what's so great about it. You can work a 9 to 5 or you can have your own business, be an entrepreneur. You can go in so many different directions. Well, one final question before we wrap up. What does having CPA behind your name mean to you?
And being a certified public accountant, it means so much to me because it goes back to my childhood. My dad believed in financial education, and we basically relocated to the US because of that. So I feel like I was able to complete a journey that my dad started, but was unable to finish because of barriers that were presented to him when he was going through his education back in the 80s or whatever. So it's really important to me to finish what he started, and he passed that passion on to me. So it's also a passion of mine. But it just means that like I'm able to start something at an early age and finish it. And finishing it is the thing. It doesn't matter when. I mean, I started this journey at 32, and I really didn't finish until I was 41. So it's very important to me.
Right. Age is nothing but a number. And right. And I know your family, along with your dad, are extremely proud of you. So that is fantastic. So, well, thank you, Mama, for taking time out of your day to share your exam experience and show us how you can do it all. I wish you the
Thank you.
business,
Thank
hope
you
it
so much.
continues to grow during these times of what uncertainty, but it seems like you are excelling and being successful through it all. So you're definitely reaping the benefits of being a CPA.
Yeah.
So again, thank you very much. And before we disconnect, and until next time, remember who you are and whose you are. And if you enjoyed this video and like to learn more about other people, please check out other videos so you can be motivated and inspired to continue or start the Certified Public Accountant journey. See you next time.